I'm so sorry about that. I had some major technical issue there, and I really had no idea what happened there. And oh wow, wow, wow! I'm sweating because trying to resolve the issues. I'm 12 minutes late. I'm so sorry about that. And this is just unbelievable. This I'm so sorry. I apologize for my lateness because of this bloody software that I'm trying to resolve. And this is the third technical glitches that I have this week. And yesterday, I mean like 2 days before, on Facebook, I was streaming on Facebook, and I realized that I was streaming without any audio, and then I have another issue where the camera just stops working. I mean the feed suddenly stops, and today nothing was on, and I couldn't connect to YouTube for some reason, my software. But anyway, I'm here. So thank you very much for waiting for me, and I'm here to talk about a lot of stuff, of course. And as you can see from my community page, I posted a poll about what you guys want to say about your lens, about your favorite lenses. So this is the topic of the day. But of course, this is the structure that we usually have. And if you're new here and you don't know what Photography 101 is about, well, basically is about photography and also filmmaking, Olympus gear, Micro Four Thirds, yeah, you know, like about anything to do photography taken with Micro Four Thirds camera. How's that? Right. Hello, good morning, guys. And wow, there's quite a few people waiting and saying hi and good morning all. And actually afternoon all now, actually yesterday. Apologize, my brain is going somewhere else today, and definitely not feeling myself. I don't know, maybe because I'm in the house for too long. And you know, I know that lots of countries, especially in Europe, the lockdown is easing off now, so you guys are allowed to go out. And in London, we're still having a lockdown. So this is something I want to update you guys in terms of channel update. Is that my channel is obviously, you can see the activity is very slow at the moment, and I can't really film anything. Unfortunately, I would like to entertain you guys, bringing you more reviews and more stuff to see and watch. But yeah, it's just impossible in London, and a few of my fellow YouTubers and other people are doing exactly the same. It's just really difficult. We can only film something at home. But as you know, if you're familiar with me, if you're following me around long enough, you would know that I have a young family, and it would make things even more difficult to film, because I can't really film things during the day because it's impossible. It's just too loud, and you know, I need a quiet environment to film, and that's the problem I endure at the moment. So bear with me, things are coming, because I would like to show you guys something like these. You know, I have lenses already stacked up in my bag here, and also got some boxes of other things. I'm not telling you what they are, and so it will be forthcoming videos, and hopefully it will be very, very soon. I know I've already told my collaborators saying that, you know, I can't really make any videos. I have high bars, I have high standard. I don't want to just make a video out of it just for the sake of making it. I want to make it, you know, as good and also as fun as possible, as you can see from all our previous videos in the channel. And you know, we have a certain standard to keep, and I would just like to keep it as much as I can. And so rather than just rushing out and do something that's kind of like a homemade you've been framed video, and then I don't want to do that. I just want something decent with proper B-rolls and maybe a model, as you know, you guys like my model, so I'm just trying to organize that as well. And so that will be cool. Good afternoon, Dave and George, Andreas. Just say some hello to people. Alfonso and Burana, hello, and Top Cat, Rick Bear, Sam, Andrea, Ricky. Wow, all of you guys, excellent. Thank you very much for joining. Hello, Roman, and from Germany, Guten Tag. And so this is really happy. I'm happy today. That's really good. Although I'm not quite feeling myself in some way, but I don't know. It's just because I've just been in the house for too long. I think that's my problem. Okay, so that's the channel update. And oh, one more thing. You know, while you guys are here, I'm going to mention it again towards the end of the talk as well, because I have something exciting to announce next week. So you just have to stay tuned. If you're new here, remember to subscribe and put on the bell notification, because this particular activity will involve all of you. And I'm not joking, involving all of you, because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good for, especially for this environment now that we're in at the moment. So we'll get you active and do something with your camera. I'm kind of giving away a lot of information now. I'm going to shut up, you know. But there will be a prize for that. So yeah, you really have to stay tuned for it. I hope that all of you guys would get involved, because it's going to be a fun activity. And I keep saying activity, I don't want to leak too much information, man, damn it. And I'm doing it right now. Okay, stay tuned. That's all I'm saying now. Okay, so let's go back to hello, Brian from Australia. Hello, and well done, welcome. And so today's topic, your favorite lens. I remember I posted a community post on the YouTube, of course, and let me just bring it up, because rather than typing all up, I'm just going to go through the list that you guys put on, and I'm going to talk about my favorite lens, and let's have a fun discussion, shall we? Hello, Camille from Denmark. Ricky, it's not a giveaway. You have to earn it. You have to earn it. Hello, cool, excellent. Wow. Oh, you passed midnight. Wow. Good evening. Right. Okay. Let me just go to my community page, and then I will be able to tell you exactly what you guys have written to me, and it's really fun. I'm hello, Bart from Norway. Fantastic, excellent. Right. Okay, I got my community post up, and I've got all the comment loading up. Whoa! Okay, so my question was, what is your favorite lens? I mean, of course, a lot of you guys have posted Olympus stuff, and but there are other brands as well. You know, I did say that it's not specific to Olympus, but of course I'm an Olympus user as well, so I have my favorite Olympus lens. But if you want to ask me what's my favorite lens of all time, I can also talk about that as well later on. So let's go through the very first line now, and Thomas has said Olympus 45mm 1.8 is his favorite lens, and I to be honest, I love that lens as myself. I have a whole bunch of lenses on my desk at the moment, so I want to show you one by one. And but I don't have the entire lineup here, even though I have most of the Olympus lenses in my studio. But it's too far away. I don't want to get access. I don't want to load up my dining table full of lenses here, because the kid might damage them. So only check out the ones I want to talk about today. So hello, Lee, and cool. Oh, awesome. Hello, Hart, Indonesia. Excellent. So, right, this little guy here. This is the Olympus 45mm 1.8. This is a fantastic lens here, and I really do enjoy shooting with this, and it's so super tiny. Of course, it's really suitable for the medium-sized camera bodies such as the EM5 and the Pen F. It really works a treat. If you guys forgot about this lens review that I did 2 years ago now, probably, and I was using Pen F on with this lens. You can see the balance is really amazing, and also being a 1.8 lens, that means you can do a very good subject separation. The bokeh is really nice as well, and I actually made the comment. I made the remark in the review that I did. I said actually I couldn't believe how Olympus made this lens so cheap, and while having such a high quality glass. And this is something that I was really amazed by, you know. And I'm not sure you guys, if some of you guys in the UK, you've probably seen some of the offers at the moment about this lens, and you can get this lens really cheap. And I think I remember there's a newsletter about one of the retailers selling it for £169, brand new, £169. This is the bargain. I'm not sure if it is still available. If you can find it, grab it. This is a very good lens. It also works with silver and black. It's got two colors, so you can choose. And unfortunately, it doesn't come with a lens hood, so you have to buy that. But there are plenty of options there on Amazon, so you can grab one. Even original plastic hood is quite nice. But if you think that's a little bit pricey, I think about 35, 40 quid just for a little plastic hood. You can get option from China. I think it's quite cheap. They're about like £10, £15. You can get one similar looking, if not better looking even. So this is the very first lens we'll talk about, because that's Thomas actually suggested. I'm going to run through the list from the community page. If you want, of course, you can also jump into the community page to see the list I'm talking about as well. Excellent. Okay, right. I've got some people here talking as well, and let me see what you guys written. And while I'm on it, so Hart actually said 1725. Penna. Okay. And Rick Bear says 7 to 14. And quite a few people 7-14 as well. Okay. Nice. And you got 40 to 152.8. This is the lens I'm going to talk about. Okay, that's for sure. Right, 15 1.7 from Yomi. Okay, 45 f1. Where did you get 45 f1? I want to get one. I want to get one of those. Okay, right. Let's go for the second list now. Michael Gerard, and then I commented. He has a list. Instead of one favorite lens, he has 3 favorite lenses. And let's 4 favorite lenses. Oh my goodness. Right. So Michael says that 60mm f2.8 macro is his first favorite. Then same thing again, the 45mm 1.8. And third is Panasonic 35 to 100 f4 to 5.6, which is a kit lens, I believe. And then also is the Panasonic 1.7. Okay, interesting. Right, okay. Let's talk about the Olympus 60mm f2.8. That is actually a very fantastic. Now, I love that lens to bit, and you can see from my review of the 60mm 2.8 is super amazing. And a lot of the Olympus lenses that I mentioned today is already been reviewed by myself, and so you can check out on my playlist, Olympus playlist. You will check all the lenses reviews that I've done in the past. So the 60mm is fantastic. I use that lens for macro, for my wedding ring shots, detail shots, general portrait shots. So it's a very versatile lens. It may look expensive, like for in the UK we're selling for about recommended retail price is about 450 quid, but you can get street price for about 360, 380 depending on where you shop. And I think they're also doing a deal at the moment as well. But it may look expensive, but it's a very genuinely super lens. You know, like the glass optically is fantastic. It has a high micro contrast. Resolving power is out of the moon, being a macro lens. Of course, you can focus extra close. It's a macro lens. Because it has a focus limiter, you can actually just use as a normal general lenses by switching off to a normal distance instead of super close up. And it's a really good lens. I think it actually out-resolved the current 20 megapixel sensor from the all the top range Micro Four Thirds cameras at the moment. It's fantastic. Also, being the micro lens being the weather seal, so it's actually good as well. So you can use it in rainforests. You don't have to worry about these moistures getting into the lens or the air or into the body. Everything's sealed up nicely. So it's just a really good lens. So good choice. And of course, already mentioned about 45 1.8, which is here Michael's second choice. Fantastic, and this is a really nice. I was using this a lot for model shoots and stuff like that if I want to travel, and they're really good. Then the third one, I don't have this lens, the Panasonic 35 to 100. If any of you got any experience in that, and you can probably agree with Michael. I haven't personally used this particular lens, but if you say it's good, of course it's good. I wouldn't judge on that, because if you can produce great work, it's a good lens, right? And I wouldn't really disagree. And then also Panasonic 25 1.7 is probably equivalent to the Olympus 25 1.8 premium lens, and I used that a very long time ago now, before I even started the YouTube channel, so I probably wouldn't remember how it looked like in terms of images, but I'm very sure it's very equivalent to the Olympus 1.8 series. So yeah, it's gonna be good. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move on to I'm gonna jump from here to a little bit of the comment section here and see what you guys are talking about. Let's see. Okay. Shaka, yes, Shaka. Yeah, 25 1.2. I do have this lens in front of me. Right. Yes, Shaka, I would not disagree. The 25 1.2 is my very first Olympus Pro lens after I switched from Canon and Leica to Olympus. So this was the first Olympus. Oh, I got itchy nose. Sorry. Oh. Don't worry, I don't have COVID-19. It's just hay fever. And so the 25 1.2 is one of my very first Olympus Pro lens. It's rugged built, and I needed something super fast. Mind you, before I bought the 1.2, I had the Panasonic Leica 25 1.4. The original, not the Mark II, of course. The Mark II only came out last year. So the Mark I, and it was great. I love that lens, especially for the size. It's like super tiny, right, that thing? and you got the 1.4 aperture. It just really works on the EM5 body. I used to carry the Panasonic Leica 25 1.4 everywhere with me with my EM5, and just a really nice combination there, super sharp. But the only problem I had was with the Panasonic lens was the fringing. The pebble fringing was a little bit too much for my taste, especially I shoot wide open in lower light or sometime during sunset time, so when the light is a little bit dimmer and I shoot wide open. So when the light is just a little bit hitting the side of the subject and creating the light rim, that's when you see the purple fringing, and I didn't really like that. Even though I love the rendering. It's really like a typical Leica rendering. I love it. But being professional, you know, and there's two things I needed. Is the optical performance, also weather seal. And unfortunately, the Mark 1 wasn't weather sealed, so I went up to go for the Olympus version. It's 1.2, it's slightly faster, but also fully metal and fully weather sealed. So like, I love to use this to match with my EM5 Mark II and the EM1 Mark II at a time. So it's a fantastic replacement, and I never can look back after I upgraded to the 1.2. I think it's a really, really good lens. So Shaka, yes, absolutely correct there. And let's see if there are any others. Comment here. Brian and from Australia said that you like the 300 f4 for birds. Absolutely, this lens is phenomenal, right? In full frame, this is a 600 millimeters equivalent. 600, you know, like I mean, I don't know you guys how familiar you are with the Canon full frame system. The 600 mil is about, I don't know, I can't even fit in my screen. It's about this big, you know, like massive. And then it's not an easy lens to operate if you are using a really long focal length lens. So the Olympus equivalent is quite small by comparison, and it's hand-holdable. But because of the focal length, you still need to have a relatively high shutter speed, despite having the Sync IS on the Olympus body, like which can use up to 7.5 stop if you use the EM1 Mark III and the EM1X. So you can still achieve really, really good results, and especially with the latest tracking capabilities now, it's just fantastic. So yeah, it's very good choice, and the optics is nice, definitely nice. And first footprint photography, I wish Olympus would make a Pen F Pro. You make me choke there. Wouldn't I want that? Oh, I said this so many times. You know, if Olympus is going to make a Pen F Pro or Pen F Mark II with weather seal, with all the latest specs, I would pay any money for it. And I'm not joking, yeah, I would pay any money for the Pen F Pro or Pen F2 with weather seal, and that would be amazing, right? Okay, but today's about lenses. I don't want to go into it now. I mean, maybe I should start another chat about your favorite camera. Should we do that? You know, maybe we'll talk about our favorite Olympus camera or Micro Four Thirds cameras. We can talk about that, and I think that would be quite cool as well. If you guys are like, remember do the thumb up, and then we can talk about camera next week. That'll be cool. Right, okay. Lauren said that the EPL 8 uses the Panasonic 12-32 kit lens. Is that the little kit lens or the pancake lens? I'm not entirely sure which one it was now, because obviously I'm an Olympus guy, so I'm not too familiar with Panasonic lenses. Right, Camille actually also agree with me. 48 1.8 is amazing and super sharp. Stop down to f2, super cheap, great bokeh. There you go, mate. There you go. And so let's see. Okay, right. Let's jump back to my list now. Okay, let's see. Third person. Who's Seraphin? Who's Seraphin? Who's Seraphin? If you're here, and okay, your choice is Sigma 16mm 1.4. Right, this is of course a third-party lens. It's not Olympus nor Panasonic, but they do offer a Micro Four Thirds mount. This is a very good lens and very a good alternative to, let's say, the 17mm 1.2 from Olympus, and also equivalent to the Panasonic Leica 15mm 1.7. Unfortunately, for that focal length in the Panasonic realm, they don't have it as fast as 1.4. So like if you are a Panasonic guy who doesn't want to get Olympus equivalent kind of 15-17 range, and you don't want the Olympus lens, you will have to get a Sigma, because they are the only one who do a faster than 1.7 and 1.8 aperture. So it's a great lens, and it's also very much more affordable than the Olympus or the Panasonic offerings. Because the 17mm 1.2 lens is relatively more expensive than the Sigma's 16 1.4. To me, I mean, I haven't done a review on the Sigma 16 1.4, and but the 17mm 1.2 I had, and I loved it, and actually it's one of my favorite lenses, which I'm going to talk a little bit about it, why it is, but it's a fantastic lens. I kind of use it a lot. So 16, cool. Right, let's see, going to Ryan Green, are you here? And you posted 75mm. I think I saw Burana's comment. You also said 75mm 1.8 is your favorite lens. Yeah, I think that lens is magnificent. It's just so sharp that kind of so sharp it poked my eye. It's like my eye could bleed when you can see the sharpness from it. It is amazing, that lens. I have no problem with that lens, and the construction was amazing. It's like full metal, and the glass, the front element of the glass is huge, and then it's super fast to focus. I couldn't really see any optical flaws with that lens, and it's just superb. But I have a problem, but that's only me though, and it's the focal length. 75 an Olympus camera or Micro Four Thirds is 150mm equivalent on the full frame. To me, it's just a little bit too long for my taste, and I mean, if you guys been following the channel long enough, and you see how I shoot with the models, and this is actually how I shoot normally with my clients and everybody else, I like to get a little bit closer. So 75mm or 150 equivalent is just a little bit too long, and then that means if I stand in normal distance, I shoot my model, it would really be like a proper headshot like this. And so that really is my only thing, my only concern. But other than that, it really is a superb lens, and I would love to use it, but I had it, and then but I couldn't use it enough time to justify keeping it, so I had to return it back to Olympus. And so yeah, it wasn't really my lens, although it really is superb optically, and I would love to just own it, and but I'm still a working photographer. I got a budget to work with, so not something that I could afford to keep. I can only keep the lenses that I can make money off, and that's the true fact. So yeah, that's another thing. I don't get things for free, and I still have to buy them. And okay, so let's see what another one now on the list. So what? I don't know how you guys make up your username. I cannot pronounce them. But anyway, so the next one on the list is the 12-100 f4 Pro is the first. And then the 24 1.2 and the 300 f4. Whoa, you are going for long, guy. Okay, 12-100, fantastic. And I literally got an email the other day asking about this very lens, whether he should get the 12-100 or the 12-40 2.8. I did the review on the 12-100. I also did a comparison between the two, the 12-100 and the 12-40 2.8 from Olympus. I think they are both great lenses. The choice between the two solely depends on, first, what you want to shoot, and also whether you need that reach, because the 12-100 is actually a very cool lens, having such a long reach, between 24-200 equivalent in a full frame. You've got this great flexibility there to work with. I think it's really good video lens, especially it's got the lens IS. That means you can use sync IS on the Olympus body. I use that for filming, and it's just super stable. And then even more, of course, because sync IS kicks in when you're videoing, It's even more stable than just using a normal Olympus lens. And yeah, you wouldn't believe it. It's just really, really cool. But the only downside, of course, is an f4 lens. So if you are filming or using it in a lower light situation, you have to kick up the ISO, and so noise will start creeping in a little bit depending on what sort of ISO you're shooting. So 2.8, of course, is a better option if you do low light more than daylight. So if you give and take, you know, unfortunately, you know, there's nothing is perfect in this world, so you just have to judging on what sort of thing you do more than the other, then you kind of make that decision based on that. And 25 1.2 already mentioned is a fantastic lens, and 300 f4 also is really, really cool. And Lucid said next one is Helios 44. Woohoo! You are up my street, man. And right. For those who don't know Helios, they're the Russian lens, and dated back in the old film days now. I actually have 2 Helios 44. Actually, no, 3 Helios 44. Well, you don't know why I have 4, but I'm not going to tell you now because I could make a video out of it. But I got it from a camera. I don't know if you guys know what a photo sniper is. Right, I actually have a photo sniper film camera back in the USSR days. It's basically a camera with a fixed 300mm f4, and then mounted on a gun stock. So like you cock it, you know, and then you pull the trigger. Literally pull the trigger to photograph, and it's a fantastic, cool little well, not little, big lens. And I had 3 sets. And then the case is a metal case. It looked like one of those military metal cases. It actually looked like one. So so you have the 300mm lens and then the camera body, the gun stock, everything disassembled inside. So you have to assemble them. Then you also have a 44mm Helio on the top of the case and screwed on it. So you have 2 lenses in the case. So the 300 f4 and also the Helio 44. It's fantastic, and then that lens is actually really good for vintage looking thing, very dreamy, and I love the rendering. It's just like, yeah, if you're into analog photography, you would not be disappointed, and they're super cheap. You can pick one up dirt cheap on the market, and there's just so many of them, and also being a metal build, manual lens, so like, you know, it just can't fail. Even if it fails, chuck it, get another one. It's cheap. It's like £15 or something. If you haven't tried it, try it. You can mount it on Olympus body as well. If you don't know, you know, I've done a video on how to mount other lenses onto Olympus camera body just via an adapter and do all the settings and stuff like that. It's very simple to do. It's very effective. If you want to get into that, it's really cool. So now I've done Lucids. Let's jump back to the comment section to see what other things you have here. Right, Andrea Becker, you're waiting for an ultra-wide lens. 9-18 Ollie is outdated. It is, because 9-18 is actually one of the first ultra-wide lenses they introduced kind of back in the early days of Micro Four Third. Yeah, they haven't really updated the lens since, unfortunately, but they did bring out the Pro lens, which is the 7-14, the f2.8 Pro, which is a lot bigger and a lot heavier, which I'm going to come into, because I saw 2 comments earlier saying that they like that lens. I do personally like it. There are 2 things about that lens that I could think of an improvement if they're going to bring a version 2 or improved version of it, is that bring out a flat element in the front, or you know, so that I can mount filters on it. At the moment, you have to buy a specific tailor-made filter adapter to allow you to mount, you know, other filters on it. It's extremely difficult if you're a landscape photographer, for instance, or if you want to do long exposures, and it's just really, really difficult. And secondly, it's just the weight. It's really heavy for what it is. It's quite heavy. But in terms of optical performance, I really could not fault it. You know, I use it a lot of weddings, there are lots of places. You know, before, it's just superb lens. I think is fantastic. That's, yeah. I mean, I think if they bring a really cool version next one, with what I just suggested, you know, they have a flat element I can mount filters on, I'll buy one straight away. And it's still really good wide angle lens. So Bart Hartman, Hamran, Bart, you said 45 1.2. Absolutely, I really do like that lens as well. The 45 1.2. Once again, I did the review with Charlie, and also one of our earlier videos on the Micro Four Third, and we had fun with it. And that lens is really gorgeous. We talked about the 45 1.8 and how significant, how good it is. The 45 1.2 is more like a refined gentleman, you know, like a kind of just a little bit more upmarket. It's only because the build is better. It's weather seal, of course. This guy isn't. It's fully metal. This guy isn't. And it opens up to 1.2, which allows you to shoot in much lower light situation and well, about a stop. So yeah, it's good enough. And also it's sharp. It's also sharper than this, just a little bit sharper than this at wide open. And then, but more importantly is the optical correction. Well, that if you shoot wide open, that is, if you shoot wide open with the 45 1.8, there will be a little bit of edge softness and also a little bit, ever so slightly tiny purple fringing with this lens. But it's not something that you cannot correct in post. The 45 1.2 is almost perfect optically. You know, I didn't see any weaknesses in it. The resolving power is great, and the feather bokeh really does work. And that lens is just cool. If you shoot a lot of portraits, and especially professionally, I would recommend you to get the 45 1.2 instead of 1.8. But hang on there, I know what you're gonna say. 1.8 is a fantastic little lens. It's good investment. And so if you are just generally just want to shoot some portraits every now and then and travel a little bit and just want to get a little bit closer using a prime and shoot a little bit low light stuff, get this, not the 1.2. You know, like for the price, this will give you a lot more bang for bucks than the 1.2. But if you make money from your lenses, go for the 1.2 because yeah, you cannot go wrong with that. It's super rugged, it's weather seal and everything. I have both, and I'm just a nut. I'm just an Olympus nut, right? Okay, I said it. Done. Okay, let's see. Let's see what other things. Lauren say Panasonic 25 1.7 is $99 to $149. Wow, that is cheap. In China, buy again with like 30 macro in Japan. Right, okay. Interesting. Fab cams, my favorite Olympus lens is 17 1.8. Oh gosh, I love that lens. Yes. Right. I do have it, and I actually do like that lens. Tracy loved that lens as well. She got it, and I have it in my bag somewhere. And yeah, I had too many Olympus lenses, and I know my wife is not happy about this. But anyway, so the 17. Well, let's generalize it because I have all the 1.2 lenses and the 1.8 lenses. What I use the 1.8 lenses when I go traveling with the family, and if I just go to in non-work assignment. So if I go to do something that I will need to travel a lot, I will take the 1.8 anytime. Only because it's super light, super tiny, because all of them are this small. I shove it in a smaller bag and I can just walk and enjoy the whole journey of things, you know, without having to worry about weight, because that's the whole essence of Micro Four Third, right? Wouldn't you agree? I think it's a really cool that to have such a small and capable system, and that you can tag along, you know, just go on the travel, hiking, anything without having to feel the strain in the back and shoulder and everything. The days of my having full frame system, like, you know, really killing my neck and shoulder is gone. You know, like I used to, you know, like, I mean, I was super fit then, you know, I was a lot fitter than what I am today. But even then, I still feel the pain when I reach the top of the peak. And then, yeah, it is not easy. But nowadays I can try, I'm happy because it's so small and light and just fantastic, right? So yes, I do agree, 17 1.8 is a fantastic lens, especially for street photography as well. But then but I'm going to come to that in a minute. So, and let's see. Burana also said another lens, a 40 to 150 2.8 with MC14. Good choice, because it's a fantastic combination there. And in fact, in the UK, I'm doing a little bit of a UK promotion here. Olympus is doing a deal at the moment. If you buy the 40 to 150 2.8 Pro, you can get the MC14 free of charge. Yes, free of charge. And then also, if you're getting the 300mm f4 Pro in the UK, you will be given the MC20 free of charge. I said it. Okay, my promotion is done. They're not giving me any of that. And then, but anyway, so go back to your topic, right? I love that 40-150 is actually also one of my favorite lenses. Here we go. And you might find it a little bit weird, this lens here I'm showing you right now, because it hasn't got the tripod collar. This is something you probably don't know, right? Okay. You can take off the collar. Most of you know, but do you know you can get a plastic collar that cover the actual tripod mount thing on the camera body, so make your lens look more streamlined. You can see, I know you can see close-ups. You see, so this thing, like I took out the tripod collar and I fitted this plastic a ring onto it. So I'm trying to show you. So there you go. That's the plastic ring, and then like you can see, this is what it looks like without the tripod mount. And I don't like these screws sticking on, so all I did just put the plastic ring back on. It just looks more streamlined, looks more like a lens in a way, so like not like looking like something's missing from the lens, and it feels better when you hold it as well. It doesn't have these nuts, I mean like the screws sticking up. I don't use it because the tripod collar is a little bit heavy, so I took it out to further saving in terms of work, and also because it's actually not very long and big, just because of the hood is huge, but the actual body is quite tiny. And then you can get this, and I can hand hold it with my EM1. It's perfectly fine. It's super balanced. I don't need a tripod collar. I mean, if you mount it onto a tripod, that's maybe a different story, especially if you use a slightly smaller body. But other than that, it's fine. And this is really a genuinely cool lens. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and later, because this is on my list, on my own list. So I'm going to come back to it in a minute. So let's see what other things here. And okay, Top Cat, and I don't have now only that I had Panasonic Leica. So yeah, buying a cheap telephoto lens, 40-150, suitable alternative. Cool. Okay, right, Paul, and yeah, you're agreeing to Camille. Okay, 12-50 kit lens, a good cheap macro, and not bad for a starter. Well, yeah, I actually made that comment, I think this morning or yesterday morning in my Facebook stream. Well, it is interesting because a lot of people may overlook kit lenses. They are actually not bad at all. It just depends on what sort of thing you need to do, and ultimately whether you do cell prints or whether you work in a lower light situation, because you need wider aperture or you need faster shutter speed to freeze the frame. And all that comes into it. Kit lens is actually not bad. If you look at your outlet for your photography, and if you are primarily sharing your work online, actually any kit lenses can do the job nicely and perfectly. There's nothing wrong with it, and they're really, really good. So it's actually not bad. Yeah. I would not discuss any kit lenses, whether from Olympus or any brand. You know, to be quite honest, they are almost as good as the olden day pro lenses. That's how I'll put it. Because technology has moved on so far now, and the modern day kit lenses almost as sharp as the older pro lenses, if you look at it that way. And so they're actually good. You just don't have the 2.8 or the 1.2, 1.4 aperture. You just have a slow aperture. But in general, they are actually not bad at all. Okay, let's see. And first footprint photography. You're asking the price of the Olympus 100 to 150 400 Pro lens, right? I don't know, and then I would not know at this moment in time, but I would have a guess on the region between on the region of £5,000 to £6,000. That's what I would guess, only because of what it is. And if you kind of work out the general cost saving, when I say cost saving, I mean like price difference between a full frame lens to a equivalent micro four third lens, that you kind of work out that distance there. Because 150 to 400 is basically a 300 to 800 millimeters pro lens. This is not a normal lens, this is a pro lens with a built-in converter and a super fast ultrasonic speed motors built in for fast shooting and tracking and stuff like that. And I am guessing it's not going to be far off between £5,000 to £6,000, and because there's actually not so much of equivalent in the full frame because they don't go 800, and when you have to get the prime like 1200 from Canon, but that is like what, £25,000 lens, you know. So you can look at these numbers, you know, they're huge numbers there. So 5,000 to 6,000 isn't actually expensive at all, depending on what sort of thing you do. Once again, these sort of lenses are not aiming for general enthusiasts or amateurs, unless you are a die-hard collector or a pro. You know, you're not going to get this lens. But I'm guaranteed from the Olympus that I'm going to get a copy for review. So you have to stay tuned for that particular lens. Apparently, it's going to be an ultra rare lens because of the low production number. It's hand built in Japan, and they're not going to be widely distributed, and only kind of almost like made to order, with which is a similar thing to a lot of the bigger lenses from other brands like Canon, Nikon. These huge specialist lenses, what they call it, are all kind of made to order, only because of the cost, and also like they don't want to make too many of them just in case they sit in stock, because it's not very nice to sit the stock there for many years without selling it. So they only make it whenever there is someone asked for it. So you know, I think that they're not going to have too many in the UK. So but I'm already kind of reserved my slot for reviewing one if I like it. If my wallet can stretch, I may actually get one myself, and this time I may not use it, but as a collector, and I might actually want one myself. So we shall see what this gonna look like and feels like, because it's very promising. It looks like it's a very interesting and also capable pro lens, and I will be able to shoot the moon 800 with the built-in 1.25 times converter, and I also have the MC20 and MC14. Oh, that's gonna be huge, man! That thing, I can't wait. And okay, let's see. My favorite travel lens is the 12 to 100 from Ariel. F4 Pro lens, one that I have mounted every day, is the 17 1.2. You almost up my street, Ariel, and I'm in line with you. I love the 12 to 100 F4 Pro, like I mentioned earlier, but my favorite lens that's always on my camera is the 17 1.2. So I'm going to come back to it, talk about all my favorite lenses on my list, yeah. And okay, cool, right. Anchi has said about Voigtlander 60mm f/0.95. That's a really cool lens. But being 0.95 is not surprising. It's going to be 860 grams, so it's actually a very heavy lens. It is an interesting lens, but again, you know, and we convert into full frame or equivalent, it's going to be 120. It's going to be quite long. Yeah, I think it will have an interesting rendering. I mean, I always like Voigtlander lenses. I had a couple before. I sold them as soon as I switched, because I never used my Voigtlander lenses on Olympus bodies, but I used Voigtlander lenses on my Leica, and it was really nice rendering. But once again, Voigtlander had a problem of fringing. That's what I always had a problem with, and ultimately I had to sell it because it just couldn't satisfy my professional quality. It's good if I'm just an amateur, if I'm not selling prints, or if I'm not selling my photography service to a client, because they will see the fringing. It's so bad that to a point I cannot correct it. Yeah, and I don't want to go into too detail, but it may be better now. You know, I'm not suggesting that the 60.95 is bad, and then but my experience with previous Voigtlander lenses is they always have fringing, and then so that's why I have to try to see if it's good or not. And I haven't had a chance to try any Voigtlander lenses on the Olympus bodies yet, so we shall see. And Richard Talian, and you are saying Panasonic 10 to 25 1.7. Ooh, this is a beast, my boy, and I love that lens for filming for sure. Really, because it's almost like a 3 prime lenses all stuck together with 1.7 aperture. That's fantastic, right? It's really good. I do sincerely hope that Olympus will have something similar, and that is a very unique lens, but it's heavy, and then I think that is something to take away. It's really heavy. It's really big and bulky. It's not so bad on the EM1X body actually, but if you're having a EM5 body, or even an EM1 body, and you will find it extremely front heavy once you mount the lens on, and unless you put the grip on the EM1, yeah, I always don't like the imbalance issue, especially if you shoot a long time, and which I do as a professional. So I shoot hours at a time, and then if having unbalanced issue, even it hurts my wrist. So it's not a very, very nice thing, but it's a really good lens. I have to say, it's really, really cool lens. Okay, let's see, and what other thing? Oh my gosh, got so many comments today. You guys are interacting. Interesting. Fantastic. Excellent. Excellent. Right. Okay. Let's go back to my community page and look for the next list. Right. Titals Din, and your list is Leica 15mm 1.7, which I already mentioned is a fantastic lens. Lumix 12 to 35 f2.8. Leica 100 to 400 millimeters. Woohoo! You have the whole list of Panda Leica lenses there. Fantastic. And then I love that list there. It's really good. The 12 to 35 is a very cool alternative to the Olympus 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro because it's lighter, it's slightly smaller, and but in terms of build, I personally prefer the Olympus, not because I'm ambassador from Olympus. I'm just talking from the general touch and feel kind of thing. And I do generally prefer the build from Olympus lenses because they are full metal. It just feels like all the hard-earned money that you spend is worth it. You know, it just feels good. It's almost like you can smell it, lick it. You know, kind of like you could take it to bed. You know, it's all my money's in here. It feels good, you know. Like, sorry about that. That's it's a bit weird, isn't it? Okay. What else in there? I will include the 7014 2.8 Pro, the Ollie 24 1.8 because of the size. Ollie 74. Wow, you got a whole list of lenses there. Nice. Right, okay, Camille. Actually, I saw your post now. You saw your thing. Yeah. Okay, we talked about it already. You also on the third list, you actually mentioned about Sigma 56 1.4 portrait lens. Really nice. Again, it's a very good lens. It's an amazing lens for the price as well. And but because I already have the 45 1.2 and I just having that, but 56 because it's slightly longer, not as long as 75, but 56 is quite a good focal length and get a slightly more, just ever so slightly flattering results. And because it's 1.4, not quite 1.2, but because of the longer focal length, you can achieve very similar results, if not even slightly shallow depth of field compared to the 44 1.2 as well. So yeah, it's a really good lens. I think the focusing motor just not as fast as the Olympus lens. And also, if you know Olympus lenses, it has this manual focusing clutch. Is just awesome, right? You know, and then yeah, I that feature alone really gets me going every time. Okay, and 131 Logan, and your favorite lenses is 12 to 40 2.8, 40 to 150 2.8, and the 75 1.8. Ooh, oh, he does sports. Ah, there you go. Right, very good you mentioned that because you know exactly what you do. Perfect. And the choice you have there is amazing because you got a longer focal length there, 75, which is 115, and 1.8 will allow you to do a lot of low light sports photography. Fantastic. And then the 40 to 150 2.8, of course, is basically built for that sort of thing. The 12 to 40 is just general focal length that will cover a lot of the wider shot of the stadium or other general portraits that you might want to photograph in up close. And yeah, you got a really good choice there. Excellent, excellent. Matthew, you have Panda Leica 42.5. Oh, that lens is nice. We reviewed that as well. And also the Little Brother 15 millimeters. Nice, that's really good. I also carry the 100 to 400 millimeters for camping trips. Nice. You can see things from distance. You can start peeping through the stars. Yeah, that's nice. Really nice. Especially with Blood Moon, right? It's really good. And the 15 West. Nice stuff. Photography minimalism. I like that. Cast off, and your list is 17mm 1.8, 45 1.8 with your pen. Nice choice. I like these two on the pen. And recently acquired the EM1 Mark III and used the 12 to 100. Yeah, because of the balance issue. Very good there. Excellent. And very lovely bokeh at 100. Excellent. Rob shoot photos. Yes. Okay. You have something here. So I'm just looking at you now, and I have three configurations so far what I carry. Okay, you have the 17mm 1.8, and beautiful lens, absolutely. Pro glass, and runner up is 40 to 150, 4 to 5.6. Plastic, fantastic. Excellent, good stuff. Yeah, you know, I've already mentioned how good they are, so I don't have to repeat that again. It's just really interesting. And Patrick Whitehead, and you have 3 lenses here. You got the Pana 15 1.7, and the 12 to 40 and the 40 to 150. Yeah, very good there. You got a lot of the common favorites now in the list. Now I'm just trying to go through them quickly now. Ivanhoe, you have the 12 to 40 2.8, and the 40 to 150 2.8. See how many people actually got the 40 to 150 2.8. It really is a fantastic lens, man. Whenever we talk about this lens, let's just say that, just look, majority of the Micro Four Thirds people here, especially from the Olympus camp here, you know, this is almost like a must-have lens. You know, it's just like everyone seems to have this lens. You know, I'm not joking. I think it's even more popular than the 12 to 40. Almost everyone that I talk to, they have this lens. I think because it's the versatility for me. Panasonic doesn't have this coverage, you know, like they have the 35 to 100 f2.8, and this is a 40 to 150, which is like 80 to 300 at 2.8 in equivalent reach, and it is a fantastic and fabulous built, versatile focal length, right? You know, just you can go close, you can go far, you can go, yeah, you can just go in and out. Really, really cool lens, and I love it. And Matt, and you have a Lumix shooter. I have only one Ollie lens. Doesn't matter. Photography has no boundary, right? You know, like we can talk about everything about photography. I don't care, you know, whether you shoot Panasonic, Sony, Fujifilm. You know, we all photographers and filmmakers, right? You know, we all creative. We all creating great stuff. Great stuff to share with each other. We can admire each other's work, and yes, all that matters, right? Okay, and so that's fine. That's no problem. 12 to 40, 2.8, 45, 1.2. Right, okay, cool. But currently, his favorite Lumix lenses is 14 to 140, which is a huge range super zoom lens. 35 to 100 2.0, which I just mentioned. It's a nice lens. Don't get me wrong, it's very nice. It's very tiny as well. It's quite small. And the 56 1.4. Hey, there's a second one now. So 56 1.4. Good lens. Ricky Cheng, you have a list here. Prefer Sigma 50 to 150 2.82 APO. Nice. And Canon 28 RF 28 to 70. Nice. F2. That is big, massive lens. And Sigma, of course, 56 1.4. Very good, very good. Right, you got some interesting lenses there, especially Sigma. And to be honest, I love Sigma lenses. In my Canon days, I used to have quite a few Sigma lenses. That's way before they became what they are today. You know, they are becoming one of the premier third-party lens manufacturers. They are actually very, very good at what they do now, especially their art series lenses, and they just fantastically built, and also the optical quality is really up there with the best. So like they are really, really good. But when I used to play with Sigma lenses, it's almost like all the quirky lenses. They have focal lengths that nobody else has, and also some of the crazy zoom lenses. You know, like the what they used to have a nickname called Bigma. The 50 to 500 zoom. You know, this is a crazy zoom range. You know, and it's amazing stuff. I remember that. George, 45 1.8 on the EM10 Mark II, nice. And then, ooh, also like the Canon FD 50mm 3.5 macro. That's an interesting choice. I love FD lenses, and I have a couple. That's a cool lot. That's a good one. Corner, and then you have Ollie 17 1.8, Pana 30 2.8 macro, and the 12 to 40 2.8 Ollie. Nice, nice stuff. Kevin, you have the Nocticron and also the Panasonic 25 1.4. Both are amazing lenses. Like I mentioned about the Nocticron, the 42.5 1.2 is really a fantastic lens. It has just super sharp, bitingly sharp, you know, resolving power in that thing. You know, it's a very good well, I'm losing my voice now. Representation of Leica optics, even though it's built by Panasonic, but it's actually a very good lens, and I like it. But once again, you know, I have the 45 1.2 from Olympus, and I just, you know, prefer the feather bokeh just a little bit, just slightly more organic to me. And then I'm not too much of a person who like to look for clinical sharpness, but that's what the Nauticron is. It's very sharp. It's to a level that it's just sharp or not sharp. So when things in focus, it's sharp. When things not focused, not sharp. It's too much of that 1 and 0, and but yeah, it's interesting. And okay, and Hart also mentioned about 14. I'm jumping out to the comment section now. I'm trying to catch up a little bit. So and let's see. Right. Ooh, Rob Shoot Photos also said you got a new 75 to 300 millimeter lens, giving me the same feeling towards the fantastic plastic 40 to 150. Really? Okay. Right, I haven't actually tried that lens. I'm going to ask Olympus to send me that to review, and just to have a look and have a play with it to see what it feels like, and that will be interesting. And Hart actually said 14 millimeters. I love the sharpness, and that's the 14 millimeters. Which one was that one? 14 millimeters. I'm trying to think now. And is it the Lumix one or the Oly? I don't think Oly has a 14 millimeters. Possibly Panasonic. Okay, let's double check here. And ooh, Camille, you're mentioning about Laowa 7.5 f2. I have it on my table because I want to talk about it. There we go. That's the little guy. Look at how tiny dinky that is. This is so cute, right? And yeah, I love it. This is actually on my list of being my favorite lens, and it's special because there is currently no rectilinear ultra wide lens on the Olympus system. You know, I know there is the 7 to 14 f2.8, but that's a zoom. It's 2.8 as well. But this is a prime, and also opens up to f2, and it's still rectilinear. It's cool, right? You can do a lot of astrophotography with these things, and even when you film, if you want to get the ultra wide look, this is fantastic. And just look how tiny this thing. This is micro four third lens. This is a micro four third lens. Fantastic stuff, and I love it. I mean, just look at the size. It's basically the same size as the 45 1.8, and this, well, unlike the 44 1.8, which is the plastic lens, the Laowa is a full metal construction lens, and it's really just superbly built lens, and it's really wonderful. I love this little guy here, and I do shoot it with my Pen F, and also the EM5 Mark III, especially when I'm filming as well. Sometimes if I need to shoot to film wide, and that is a fantastic option to have. Really nice lens, really good. And also, yeah, you mentioned about filter. It uses a 46 millimeters, which I have tons of 45 millimeters, 46 millimeters thread filters for my Leica system. So that is cross compatible because it's 46, and I can use for a lot of things. And yeah, it's good that they have that diameters there, so I can make use of it. And James Boyer, and you can mount the filters on the. Yeah, I know you can mount it on the Panasonic 8 to 18. That's what I'm envy you guys, man. Like, because I have the 7 to 14, which I cannot mount any filters on unless I get the adapter. I wish I have, but I don't. And then, so we shall see. Maybe Olympus will come up with some sort of solutions in the future, or some other updated version of the lens that will be really cool, right? So, let's see. Let's see if there's anything else I'm missing at the moment. Oh, Alberto, you talking about the 12 to 45 f4 Pro lens, which I recently reviewed. It is a great lens, I think, and especially now you mentioned that, right? Yeah, they have a kit at the moment for the EM1 Mark II. It's really good lens. It's fantastic, and I love the little guy there. It's small. It is small. Even it may not look that much smaller than the 12 to 40 2.8 Pro, but it is small. You can feel it in your hand, and it's smaller than the 1.2 Pro lens, definitely a lot lighter. I like the optical quality. It's really fantastic, and it's not shy compared to the 12 to 40 2.8. Obviously, the only difference is one is being an f4, one is a 2.8. So if your primary reason is for traveling, that you don't really care about low light shooting, or if you do low light shooting but use a tripod, the F4 version is fantastic, because it's once again is a pro lens, so you got pro optics. Also, it's a fully weather seal, IPX1 rating lens, and which is good. They mount it on the EM1 Mark III or any weather seal Olympus body. You're gonna have a proper weather proof system, so you can shoot anytime, anywhere you want. And yeah, it's just a really good kit. I think it's really cool. Nice one. And okay, so Corner, you know what's the bit sad, Jimmy? The Zoha. Zoha is already married. She is, unfortunately. She is. I know. Not to me, though. And then I'm just joking. No, Zoha is lovely. She will be a constant guest to our show because you know, I know her really well for many years now. She's in fact we were actually talking not long ago and over the phone, and yeah, she just also stuck at home doing nothing at the moment as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure when the lockdown is finally finished, we're gonna come out and do something again. So just stay tuned for that. Hopefully she'll be back very, very soon. And okay, let's see. 1957 Plateau, waiting for my 17 1.8 to arrive tomorrow. And now I've mostly used it. Okay, you will love the 17 1.8. I guarantee that. It's just gorgeous, that thing. And I love it. I love it. John Allen, Ollie 12mm prime. I love it for street video. Guess what? This is also on my favorite list. This 12mm f2. In fact, I have two here. I have one here on my EM1 Mark III, and I have another one which I'm shooting right now using the film. It is a great street photography lens, and also it just looks the part, right? It just looks gorgeous. That square hood, I think if you do get the f2 prime, you have to get the hood. It's not cheap, but I think you need to get it, you know, to complete the look of it. Imagine that on the Pen F in an EM5, it just looks super sexy, right? You know, this square hood lens, and it's just fantastic. I love it, and I got two here. I mean, I got two square hood as well. It just looks great. Even sometimes I just take it out just to show people, hey, I got a really cool looking camera here. And they actually admire and they do praise for the look of it. It's just fantastic. And also, it's actually very small. Right, let me just take it off for you so you can see how small it is. Right. So this is how small it is compared to, like, let's say the 44 1.8, you can see. Let me take off the hood. You can see, just see how tiny this thing is. Look how small it is. It's tiny, this thing, and it's fully metal, and has a manual clutch. You can do zone focusing with this thing on the street. Fantastic. It's absolutely gorgeous, these things, and yeah, worth every penny. Love it. And it's also one of the first premium lenses I ever bought for my Olympus kit, and love that bit. Love that kit a bit. Right, let's see. And I need a 10mm Olympus 1.2 Pro, Dominique, for the Milky Way. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, in the meantime, you may not be able to get the 1.2, but you can have the f2 on the Laowa. And yeah, not far from it, not far from it. Okay, that's cool. Let's see what else. And right, Rick Bear got something here. 40 to 150 and the 300 Pro now comes with the plastic cover in the box. Annoying as I had to buy one separately, but worth cost. The plastic cover, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by the plastic cover. Do you mean the pouch things? Not quite sure. Not quite sure. Okay, come back to me and maybe you can explain to me a little bit. Okay, Hart, Ollie lens needs to include hood. All right, okay, Hart, and I think this is actually a very good comment. I will relate this to Olympus, I shall, and because I do actually think it'd be good for them to include hoods, because I know Panasonic lenses, they do include hoods. The likes of 44 1.8, you know, I love this guy, but you have to buy the hood separately. So is the 12mm prime. The only lenses that comes with the hood are the Pro lenses. So like the 25, you know, 40 to 150, 17, 45, they all come with plastic hoods. Yeah, unfortunately, none of the other lenses will include a hood, unfortunately. It would be good to have it. I'm pretty sure they can kind of somehow massage the pricing a little bit and absorb the cost and get into it, right? And but You never know. It's not up to me to decide. I can't represent Olympus pricing people, you know, and I'm just a user, you know, just like you guys, and use the lens to produce work. But yeah, it would be good to include the hood. Let's see what else. And right, okay, let's see now. And Lucid say, 香港加油, yeah, man. Funny, Voigtlander not for pro. Camille actually said it. Okay, well, right, okay, that's a tricky question, you know, and okay, maybe I said something about Voigtlander's, you know, having these heavy fringings and stuff like that. But depending on what sort of work you do, maybe you don't need to shoot wide open at 0.95 or f1 or f1.2, whatever. You stop down the lens, trying to, you know, because like I said, the rendering of the lenses are very interesting. The rendering of Voigtlander lenses are unique. They're definitely unique. They have their own kind of look to it, and I like it. I really genuinely like the Voigtlander's rendering because it's different and also very organic, very creamy. I love it. But whether it's for pro or not, it just really depends on what you shoot. But for me, as I say, I just personally think the lenses, at least the lenses that I had before, had too much fringing going on, and then it's just too severe to the point I cannot fix it in Lightroom or Photoshop. It just really destroyed the photograph, so I can't really use it for pro. So unfortunately, that's the only reason why I got rid of it at the end. But I love it. I still miss the lens, to be honest. I do. So Voltic videos say, let's be honest, the pro lenses for most part Olympus system are large and heavy. Now as much if you match the f number. It's always difficult to compare, you know, orange and apples, to be honest, mate. You know, obviously I'm not trying to dispute anything, or you can't really look at equivalents like that. You know, 25 is still a 25 lens. You know, it's not something that you can get away with. But if you look at a 25 1.2 lens, micro four third, and trying to have a same 25 1.2 lens on a full frame, it will be bigger. And the main reason is the diameter. You know, like it's all to do with physics, and the back element here is the mount and how much larger it has for the light to pass through to the sensor, and that's why the full frame lenses is always bigger and heavier because of that. This is a simple physics; you can't really deny it or change that in any way. But you know, if you're really trying to compare apples and oranges, it's really not worth it, to be honest. And once again, I'm not trying to have a discussion, you know, in terms of this and trying to argue in any points that you're trying to make. And they are bigger because it's 1.2, and also because of the build that they use is definitely different to the tiny little guys, right? And unfortunately, the premium lens is always going to be smaller because of many reasons. And also, whatever technology they use within the lens, I mean, I'm not a technical guy, so I can't really see. But yeah, they're okay, you know, and I can accept the weight because I had used much heavier lenses before, especially from the full frame world. And you know, like these are lenses when I used to have the 70 to 200 f2.8 from Canon. It would be 50% bigger and double the weight. And yeah, even though I may not have the same depth of field, but like I said, you know, I can compensate that by manipulating my distance between myself and the subject. And you know, it's a photographer's responsibility to adapt to the new system. And if you're really just standing in the same distance between you and the subject, just trying to compare lenses like that, of course it's different because it's different format altogether. You know, it's if you are shooting like film, for instance, back in the days in medium format, you know, like the negative is like 3 times the size of the full frame. And yeah, those lenses, they even at f4, it will have a much shallower depth of field than your 2.8. You know, like you can't really compare them like this because the negative is bigger. You know, like you always have a different look, different aesthetic to a much different format, you know, altogether. So like it's a different format. You just can't compare different formats. And but as simple as that. I mean, I try not to complicate things too much, but that's why I really never compare them. As long as the apertures is 1.2, which is this. You know, a lot of people actually misunderstood the light gathering capability because they always say, oh, it's equivalent. So your f2 lens is equivalent to f4 in full frame. No, it's f2 is still an f2 lens. It's still got the same light gathering capabilities. into the sensor. It's just because it's smaller, the aesthetic, you know, so to speak, you know, and it's just slightly different compared to the full frame, and because of the crop factor, so it looks like though it has an f4 effect, but not so much in terms of exposure. You know, you have to get that clear in your mind. F2 lens is an F2 lens, no matter what it is. You know, like whether it's going to be on the medium format, large format, full frame, APS-C, micro four thirds, even smaller 1-inch sensor. If it's an F2 lens, it is an F2 lens. You can't work it equivalent like this. So as simple as that. Okay, and but thank you for your input, and I love that. So let's see what other things in here. And and you said it, and yeah, this is the pain that I used to bear. Wolftech video, the D3S and 7200 2.8, yeah, way over 8 pounds. That's exactly the problem I had before I switched over to Olympus. I had my, I didn't have the 1D series, which is the equivalent of D3 series, with like a full body with the horizontal grip built in, and I had the 5D, but I had the vertical grip on, and had the 7200 f2.8. It really kind of like, oh man, and I had two of them. Whoa. You know, every wedding I go to, I have two of these things on each of my shoulder. It kills my body, seriously. I really hate it. Now I've moved to the Olympus. I'm just super happy. I'm just like I'm in heaven, because I can work with ease now. I can just move around like really freely, just really happy, and just fantastic, right? And okay, let's see. Marius Muller and 60 macro. Love that lens, of course. Yes, wonderful lens. Okay, Malcolm, and I knew about the new 2012 to 45 f4. I already have the 9 to 18, 14 to 42, 40 to 150, 40. Right. Interesting, because you really have all the lenses that cover the range. The only question to answer you is whether you do need the weather sealed or not, because none of those lenses you mentioned in there are weather sealed. So if you do go into places where you do need to shoot in the rain or very humid area, you don't want to destroy your camera and the sensors and the lens element, then the 12 to 45 f4 Pro will be a suitable candidate, because you can, because it's weather sealed. And if you've got a weather sealed body like the EM5 or EM1, they'll be perfectly fine shooting in the rain, no problem whatsoever, not whatsoever. So yeah, you have those lenses already, and the answer is what I just said, you know, and whether you do need to shoot in the rain. Let's see what other things is here, and no love for the 14. Oh, it is a Lumix 14, right? Okay. Current favorite is 7 Artisan. Ooh, you got a different lens there. 7 Artisan, right? Yeah, there's a lot of Chinese lenses out at the moment. I've got a couple here. Which I'm going to review soon, and really interesting stuff. Okay, the 40 to 152.8 is a brilliant. Only problem is the lens hood broke. Ah, yes. I had the same problem with my hood. This is my second hood, by the way. I had my other one. Even though I didn't bang it or drop it, it did break. So I did some feedback to Olympus, and unfortunately, I don't think they would change the hood. But hopefully, in the future, if they do make a Mark II version of this lens, they're gonna change slightly. The hood will make it just ever so slightly more robust, you know. And because yeah, I don't know why it's just relatively flimsy. Even though I love this sliding action, it's just fantastic, right? It's just a very good solution if you want to just make the lenses a little bit smaller, shove it in your bag so it doesn't sticks out, and a really good solution there. But yeah, it is a little bit flimsy. Tompa and M-Zuiko 51.8. Oh wow, the old lens. And the 135 2.8. They're both gorgeous lenses. Nice stuff. And right, let's see what else. Super light. Andrea, you have the GX800 and the 41.8 super light, travel and cheap. This is what the good thing about micro four thirds, right? You know, if you've got a small body, using a small lens, it's just a joy. You know, like I don't know, like how many of you guys are as old as I am, and then you know, back in the days when I used to take film cameras to travel, and you know, I have the SLR, of course, you know, full frame, you know, and there's no other things. You know, there's no APS-C in camera, apart from they had the 110 film camera, which is slightly smaller format, which is kind of actually more like Micro Four Third. But anyway, so I had the SLR, and then I had to have 2 or 3 lenses in my bag, and then about 15, 20 rolls of films. And it's heavy. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, I walk around cities and travel and have this heavy bag on my shoulder, and it's not enjoyable. You know, even though that you get excited when you go to a place, you see all these lovely places, lovely people, you start snapping. That may take your mind away a little bit. But as soon as you finish snapping, and you continue the walking journey, and then the pain comes back, and it's like, gosh, it kills me. And yeah, you know, like every so often I have to take a break, you know, at a coffee shop and have a coffee, just rest my shoulder a little bit. And but nowadays I could walk all day with my Micro Four Third gear, and not having to you know, worry about my body a little bit. I mean, I still sweat, you know, when you walk a lot, but it's definitely a lot more enjoyable. You know, photography is all about enjoyment, right? You know, you gotta enjoy the places you go. You're gonna enjoy the culture. You're gonna enjoy the food. You're gonna enjoy everything you see, and you're gonna enjoy shooting with it. Isn't that? You're gonna enjoy shooting it. That's why I think, you know, smaller format. You know, it has its limitation. Don't get me wrong, but it is a very good system, especially for those who travel or value portabilities and lightweight a lot more than anything else. And that this is a really great system to have. Even for professional like myself, I enjoy it. I really do. And cool. Let's see. Okay, right. Hi from Germany. I use Volca. I use mostly 12 to 100 12 to 100 f4 Pro, or the f240. I think you mistyped there. And the 62.8 macro, and the with an adapter. I'm presumably you mean extension. The 12 to 20 to 200 FT lens. Interesting. Right, okay, you got some interesting choices there. But yeah, that's cool. Victor, the score pan, and your favorite lens is 12 to 40 2.8, 20 to 150 2.8. And I got the 40 to 152 a bit later. Once I got it was sitting body. Oh, okay, that's nice combo there. I like that. There's a lot of people getting these two lenses when they get into Olympus. Is the especially when they move up a level into pro level. So like they have the 12 to 40 and the 40 to 150, almost like a de facto duals that they have there. And then a lot of people do have these two lenses there. Mikey 25 1.8 manual lens, quite fun to shoot with. Absolutely, Chili and Chili Bones, and is yeah. I have a similar lens in here, and which one is this one? This one is great is that they actually have no label on the box, so I don't know what it is. All right. Oh, this is the 25. So this is the same thing. 24 1.8 manual lens from Pergear, which is actually very similar to Mikey. It's really cool. And so Camille and about 6 Sigmas 56 1.4. Yeah, it's a good focal length, I have to admit. It's very good, not as bad as 16. Okay. Kona, I would love to have one myself, too expensive right now. Okay, right, I'm just scrolling through now. And almost catching up with all the comments, very good. And let's see, the price of the hood is crazy. Marius, and yeah, I think we talked about lens hood a lot in this today's stream, right? And they are a little bit crazy. I mean, for a piece of plastic, charge you about £30 to like €45 or whatever, and it is quite expensive for what they are. But just like any OEM products, you know, if you go for Canon original hoods, they are expensive as well. If you break one, you're trying to replace one, it costs you a fortune. But unfortunately, that's how they make their money, I guess. And they have to make money somehow. But it is expensive, you know, and like we discussed earlier, you know, Olympus should have maybe given us a lens hood, you know, by default, you know, no matter what lenses they are. You can make it just slightly flimsier, I guess, you know, still free at least, you know, it's just something, right? Right, and no problem at all. Thank you for having that. And Okay, Camille, like I said, have to lower. 3 times bigger. Yeah, that's it. Right, okay. Those decorative plastic rings for when you remove the tripod bracket for the 40 should be included with the lens. Really? I don't think it is. Does it include it? Really? I got mine never had it. Damn it! I pay like £25 for that thing, and oh really? I better email Olympus and refund my £25. Seriously, and but anyway, I bought it anyway. I didn't know they were included in the camera. Maybe it's still in my box. I just didn't see it. Oh wow! Now you teach me something. But strange because I had the 3-inch f4. Also never had that ring. Weird. Now I have to ask Olympus whether they do include this ring in the box. That means I wasted like 50 quid on 2 of them. Right, okay, and let's move on a little bit. And 1957 Plateau took my 5D3 with a grip. Tamron 2470-28 VC out yesterday. Was so heavy. Yeah, it is. I mean, seriously, once you use Micro Four Third and trying to go back to full frame, the immediate effect is that, gosh, it's big and heavy. Yeah, I can guarantee that because I went back to it a few days ago. I just like, my God, that thing is huge. And I just, you know, now I'm so used to it now. The Micro Four Third I've been shooting exclusively for the last 4.5 years. It will be difficult for me to go back to full frame, and for sure, it's really, really difficult. And not that I can't, but it just feels heavy and tired. Rob shoot photo when complain about 1.2 lenses. Mention the size, newest. That's another thing. Yes, price. Yes, and a lot of people are saying, you know, the Olympus lenses are quite expensive. Yes, they are expensive, and but if really are comparing to you know, the newer type of full frame lenses now, they are even more expensive. You know, the days of £1,500 lens or £1,000 pro lenses are long gone. You know, and unfortunately, they no longer have that sort of pricings anymore. If you look at all the new RF lenses, they are all 2K plus. You know, especially the L series lenses, they are super expensive, really, really amazing, expensive. You know, like kill your wallet. You know, have to sell a kidney just to get one of them. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what it is. That's the rate. So Olympus Pro lens is actually not expensive at all if you compare to it, and it just things are inflated now. You know, things are generally more expensive to buy, so that's a reality, and it's going to get more expensive after this COVID-19 thing. I'm guaranteed it. So Joseph Ellis, welcome, hello, and Epic 2 man and wife. Oh wow, what lenses do I carry on me? And right, Joseph Ellis, hello. You know, you all know about Joseph. You know, he's a very cool dude, popular wedding photographer, also Olympus educator in the US. And yeah, he's asking me about, you know, if I go out an epic 2-person thing, what portrait sessions or what lenses do I carry? I usually carry 17 1.2, 44 1.2, actually all the 1.2 plus this, the 40 to 150 2.8 Pro. I use this lens only if I want to do some candid moment shots, so with a walking in and out thing, kind of, you know, movement thing, I'll use this lens. But generally, I'll use the 1.2 lenses. So they all will fit in my shoulder bag quite easily with a couple of bodies. The EM1 Mark III. We'll have my EM5 Mark III with me, or the EM1X, depending on what sort of shoot I'm going for. So yeah, usually 3 to 4 lenses, kind of depending on locations, of course, and also who I'm shooting with, whether it's going to be big family or just single person, because obviously that affects the choices of lenses. Yeah, that will be cool. So yeah, nice to see you, Joseph. Nice to see you, Frank. And okay, the interesting 12 to 40 f2 Pro. Nice. I like all of that. Cool. Right, I think I'm actually running a little bit long today. I'm going to end it very soon, and because I have another stream, by the way. I have another stream coming up, in fact 2 streams later on. So one is this evening at 8 p.m. with Peter Forsgaard. Yes, if you guys love Peter Forsgard. I'll be on his channel at 8 o'clock tonight. And go head over to his channel, and we're going to talk a little bit more about photography. So you're welcome to join me there as well and ask some questions if you like. We're going to have another conversation there. That's awesome. And also there's another one. If you are in the UK, actually, no, it's internet now, so you can be anywhere. But if you so happen to be free at 5 p.m. GMT, London time, please tune in. Also, go to my Facebook page, and I've got links there. Maybe I'm going to put the link in the description after the stream is finished to talk to you guys about my next stream tomorrow at 5 p.m. GMT. Is I'm being interviewed by Professional Photo Magazine. So it's again once about I talk about the hybrid shooting these days. You're using Olympus gears, filming, photographing, anything to do with photography. You're welcome there, but you have to register before you can access the live stream. So I think Olympus page also being broadcast live at the same time as well. So check out the details, but I'm going to put the link in the description afterwards. So check back here later on. I will put the link there so you can go and register yourself. So it's tomorrow at 5 p.m. GMT London time, and it's a live talk again, about an hour long. So yeah, you'll see me there once again. So yeah, I got a lot of streaming coming up. So that's interesting, right? And okay, awesome. So I got a lot covered. So that is great stuff, and nice. So I got a lot covered. Excellent. Well, still so many comments. Oh, I'm so sorry, but I really over-talked, I think, definitely overstretching myself. So I would have to end my talk today, and I know all of you guys are really engaging today, which is fantastic. I love it, and thank you for joining me. And sorry, I can't talk all of them today, but before I end today's shoot, I already mentioned my later stream, like one with Peter Forsgard, one with Professional Photo Magazine tomorrow. That's all awesome stuff, so remember to join me there. But I haven't actually disclosed my favorite lens, right? Ta-da! It's the 17mm 1.2. This is my most used and my favorite lenses on the Olympus system. Right, this is the de facto lens that I go out with. Always have this lens on my body, whichever body I take, I always have this lens with me. The second one would be the 12mm f2 prime, and only because of street shooting. So if I'm not using the 17, I'll be using this. Then alternatively, I'll have the 25 1.2 and the 44 1.2. These kind of like my trio lenses that I shoot regardless whether I'm traveling or working. Of course, I did mention about the 1.8 series as well, and cause man, I have everything. So I'm sorry, I love everything. I lie. I don't have a favorite lens. I like any lenses that take good photograph. Sorry, I cheat. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I'm really happy to see you guys. And of course, remember to join me next week. I'm going to do another poll again to see what sort of thing you guys are interested in talking. And we're going to come back and have fun again, shall we? And it's all fun, right? And yeah, don't forget I have my sponsor link there, buy me a coffee, and thank you for those who bought me coffees already. It's really great help and also support that I receive from all of you guys. So thank you once again for supporting, and also hopefully I'll see Joseph again, because we talked a little bit about doing a collaboration at some point, yeah, right, Joseph? And then we're going to do some collaboration very soon. Hopefully we'll have you guys joining us again, talking about all photography things. Right, okay, guys, and I'm sweating because I'm hot. And okay, I will see you guys, and thank you really a lot. And even though I had a little bit of hiccup technologically earlier on in the video, but it's all sorted out now, and it's all good, right? So I don't know why I'm sweating. Maybe I'm nervous. Oh, I got my towel with me. Okay, guys, I will see you soon, and thank you again. If you guys are still around tonight, see you tonight. If not, tomorrow afternoon. I also do a Facebook live stream in the morning, so I've got lots of streaming going on. So yeah, talk to you guys later, and see you next week. Bye for now.